Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. I'm Julie Lefebvre, your host. Life is remarkable, sometimes raw and always real. And some days we could use a little extra encouragement for our real lives. Here you'll find that, along with personal life-impacting stories, helpful life hacks, timely inspiration, biblical insight, and a fresh perspective. The Encouragement for Real Life podcast equips you to be a light in this world and to shine bright wherever God has you. I'm glad you're here today. Welcome back to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. Thank you for being here today. It's a joy to be with you. Last week, we wrapped up our Summer of Abundance series, and all summer long, we have learned how to live the abundant life that we are designed to live. And so as we wrap that up today, here we are with our monthly guest episode. And let me tell you, you are in for a treat. All year long, I am inviting guests on the podcast who have influenced my life in positive ways. And the amazing woman joining me today has done just that. I knew I had to have her on the podcast. Debbie Hitzel, also known to many of us around here as Coach K or Miss K, is someone pretty amazing. She not only was a great coach and teacher, but at a critical point in my life, way back in high school, God used her to speak life into this heart of mine. And she breathed belief in me that no one outside of my parents had ever done before. Little old me, little young me, I should say. But she did that, and it changed my life. She changed my life. God changed my life through her. You know, we hadn't spoken outside of social media since I left high school, but chatting with her today was like reuniting with an old friend. Not old in age, because we're not old, but it was a joy to catch up with her and just to be together again, even if it was just through our screens. But goodness, we talked about old times, growing up together, even though I didn't realize she was as young as she was when she was my coach. We talked about our faith, seasons of life that we've walked through, and making the most of every moment. And you're going to get to hear Debbie's heart. And I think you're going to be greatly encouraged and inspired by her words today. She's living life to the fullest, and she spurs us on to do the same. So if you're ready for some great encouragement and some hope-filled words and a few laughs, let's get into this episode. Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. Joining me on the podcast today is none other than a super person in my life, Coach K. I call her Coach K, but her real name is Debbie Hitzel. Welcome, Debbie. I am so glad you're here.
Julie, you are just a phenomenal leader, and thank you so much for everything that you are doing for so many people. And thanks for hooking up with me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we have not talked for except through social media, for 30 some years?
Oh my God, how can that be?
I don't know.
I'm only 30 years old. How can that be?
I want to give you who's listening some details here. We've had technical issues trying to get this to work. So I see that my network is unstable. I don't even know if I'm clear at this point. You know, we've just had lots of issues this morning. We've had sound issues as we're trying to record this. So bear with us. We're just going to do our best. And we have prayed that God would just fix any technical details. But you know, sometimes we just don't know how it's all going to work. So just hang with us here. And Debbie's been patient with me, and we're trying to figure it out. So thanks, Debbie, for your patience too.
Oh, we like challenges.
I like that attitude. So I just have to share right off the front why I invited Debbie to be, again, I can't call her Debbie, I have to call her Coach K. So I'm going to call her Coach K. So Coach K, why I invited her to be on the podcast, because I'm inviting all year long people who have impacted my life. And I knew that Coach K, I needed to have her on here because back in long time ago, 1986 or 87. I don't know. It was the winter, one of those 2 years. I think it was my senior year, which would have been 87. Um, you'd never get away with this today, but Coach K invited me to her apartment in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We had
Mhm.
pizza, we had pop, we were
Pop.
yes, soda, whatever you wanna call it. I think we had Pepsi, if I remember right. And she just invited me over. She was my assistant basketball coach. And so she spoke life into me that night. She kind of just really told me she breathed belief in me, I'll put it that way, and kind of just opened my eyes to the fact that the path that I was going down wasn't going to be so great. And she helped me just see a different path for me that night. And I don't even remember all the words that you said, Coach K, but I really believe God used you to change the course of my life that evening. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking that evening out of your life and inviting me and making a difference in my life. So thank you.
Wow, you were a superstar. And I know that you were having challenges with your knee.
Mhm.
Knee kept popping out, and you were such a big part of our basketball team that we needed you. And I mean, from what I remember, I loved all my girls. I loved them with my whole heart, and anything I could do to encourage you to be the best person that you could be was just something so natural that if why wouldn't I do it? I mean, it was just like I grew up with you all.
Mm.
My girls on that basketball team, my kids that I started teaching with were my kids. And I was only 23 when I started in Norway. I was just fresh out of college and coming into where I was in charge. Come on, me in charge. And it was just one of those things that I saw my girls growing up, but I was growing up with them. And so anything I could do to be helpful or inspirational or whatever was just something, I don't know, it's something I've always been able to do very easily because God has given me that is a clear vision for me to help
Mm.
anybody I can. So, well, thank you, Julie. That's a very special and touching story from 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. But yeah, and I know I'm not the only one that has been impacted by your presence in their lives. So for all of us who have been impacted you, I just thank you and I want to honor you and honor God because I know that he aligned our lives together for that season and here we are still today, friends after all these
You,
years.
you know what's funny is I have my very first
Oh my gosh.
group of kids. Karen Schulte is in there, and among many others. But this was my very first class, and trust me, these kids taught me more than I ever taught them.
Wow. What grade was that?
That was a fifth grade. I
Fifth.
started fifth grade and made all my kids learn their capitals. And I still have Jamie Boddicker that always tells me, I know every state capital because of you.
That's good. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that you still have the picture too.
I actually have in my possession, because this is, treasures,
Yeah.
and it's every class
Oh my goodness.
had. And so I have every student I've ever taught in this book. And trust me, it's a treasure.
Wow. Yeah, that is a treasure. That's amazing. So yes, look at all those lives you've impacted, and I know you won't take any credit for it, but, you truly are a blessing. So so thank
Well,
you.
I know when I grew up, it was with you all, is that I made mistakes. I did. I made mistakes. And if you don't make mistakes, you don't realize what the other side offers. So that's
Yeah.
one of my things that I would encourage everybody is that we can all go back and say, "Oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this. I wish I would have done that." but it's our path. The path that we travel is how we get to the future.
Mm.
And we have to look back at what you did well and what you needed improvements on. You know, it's
Yeah.
just one of those things. And I know I made a lot of mistakes in my first years of teaching, and I know those. And I absolutely, take them on and ask for forgiveness.
Mm. Well, that's a good place to start, isn't it? Just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we all have made mistakes. None of us are perfect, so yeah. But thank you for that real and transparent little perspective there. That's so helpful. So tell us about you, who you are, because not everybody knows who Coach K is. Introduce yourself. Tell us about who you are, what your life is filled with these days, just anything you want to share.
So Coach K started in Norway, Iowa, teaching, one of the best places I could have ever
Mm,
begun. And I was there for 5 years until I left. And, we knew Norway was starting to close. So went out and tried to find another job. And I went to Iowa City. And I actually coached volleyball down there for 2 years, which was kind of a disaster for me because I missed my small town family. I loved my kids that were from the little town of Norway. And when I went to the big town, wow, what a eye-opening experience. But I taught down there for 3 years and coached, and then I left there and went to college community and taught there for another 4 years. And at that point, I had taught 12 years in Iowa, and I left at that point. I was 39 years old or 36. I don't remember now. I have to go back and look. And then I went to Orlando, Florida, and raised my family there. I actually was there for 15 years in Orlando area, a little town called Oviedo. Loved it. Every day I would get up and go, oh my gosh, isn't it? Every day is beautiful. And it was hot because I like it that way. And then recently, in the last 10 years, my husband and I got a I have a new husband, which is a whole nother story. And we've been married now for 14 years, and we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, which we just love. And so, in a nutshell, that's my little journey of where I've been in location wise. But I
yeah.
started off as Coach K or Miss K. I did get married, and I became Mrs. During, and then I became Mrs. Hitzel, which is the best yet.
That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I love that. I thought that lost track of you. I did not know, exactly where you went because I was probably long gone after I graduated. And then what do you do? What keeps you busy these days?
So I was a teacher until 14 years ago and had been working in the fundraising field. So I actually took a leap of faith. I mean, it was a total leap of faith because I am a routine girl. I like being a teacher. I like everything about it. But at some point, it was like there was more yet I needed to discover. And so I got involved in fundraising and helping nonprofits raise money. And when we left the Orlando area and we moved up to Charlotte, we started our own company called Impact Auctions. My husband his name is Ron, he became an auctioneer. So we do
Oh,
fundraising galas. And so if, for example, American Cross or Big Brothers Big Sisters, anything in the realm of a nonprofit, they do a gala to raise money. It's usually in the spring or the fall. We I get hired to be their event coordinator, and I help them in planning everything that goes into the fundraising galas. And then on the night of the gala, we get up on stage. Ron is the auctioneer, and we sell whatever they have to sell. And we ask for money, and so we are helping nonprofits all around the world.
wow. That sounds like something perfect for you.
It is because I'm still teaching. I'm still
Yeah.
teaching, and I get to be, out there helping people do what they need to do.
Yeah.
In we just did a big event here in Charlotte. It was called it's for the food bank, and 850 people out in the audience, and we did about $100,000 live auction. And we also asked for money. So it was a great, great night that, we leave there saying we did something that we are very proud of every time we walk out of a room.
That's great. Wow, that's wonderful. That sounds like a great life, and that you 2 get to do it together.
Yes.
That's even better.
We call it date night. It's on a usually Friday, Saturday night. And so we get dressed up and we go out and help people. So we
Yeah,
would rather be doing that than sitting at home. And
yeah.
even though we like to sit at home and watch the Buffalo Bills, but that's another whole discussion. But
Go Bills, right?
go Bills.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, all month long, well, all summer long, we've been talking about living an abundant life on the podcast. I would love to know, what does an abundant life look like for you?
An abundant life is all about relationships and it's about family first. You put
Mm,
together your family. We now have 6 3/4 of grandchildren. I have one due here in a couple weeks. And
yay.
so between Ron has 3 daughters and I have 2 children, JC and Michael. And between all of them, we have almost 7 grandchildren, 2 in Tampa, 2 in West Palm Beach, and 2 in Columbia, South Carolina. So family first is abundance.
Mm,
Relationships are abundance. Friends, extended family members. And, I always say the person that you meet out on a street is also just as important. I mean, you can encourage people and just by a smile. And so
yeah.
that's an abundance life to me, though, is family, 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 and of course God. When Ron and I got married, our pyramid was God, us two, our kids, and then from there it extends out. And I believe that pyramid, if you stay in line in that, you're always going to have a happy, happy, happy life.
I would agree. That is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're on YouTube, you saw that pyramid that she made with her hands, and that is something that I think that we can all just live by and adopt to our own lives. Yeah.
God first.
So yeah, that's right. So looking back over your life, what brings you the most joy, knowing that you've influenced the lives of your students and players and just people that you've crossed paths with? What brings you the most joy?
The joy is just, I mean, today, your story, just wow. I mean, it's not something that you think about every single day. And so when you hear that story, I always say that life is all about stories. This is on my
Mm,
Facebook. And you better make every piece of your life a great story. And if it means going back and trying to, you know, make it a better ending, you can do that. And so just hearing your story, Julie, brought tears to my eyes. And
mm,
it's just one of those things that if you can be a good person, if you can go out and do great things, if you can just smile at somebody, this world is full of ups and downs. And, you can make it what you want. And if you get a bad day, you get up and you come up with 10 things to be thankful to God, and it will change your whole life
mm.
around. And positive thinking and being in the right mindset is is everything. So I had knee surgery not long ago. It's been a year, and I follow people that have had a total knee replacement, and they complain about it every single day. I had no pain. I mean, I had a great surgeon, and I went into this knowing that I was going to come out, being stronger and better. And I just made sure that, there's a lot of things that go into it in preparation too, is staying active and being in good health and eating well and all of that kind of stuff. But I am one of the people that if you ever have to have a full knee replacement, you need to go into it in a positive mindset. And I really did. I was driving in 3 days. I wasn't supposed to be. I was told I wasn't supposed to drive for 2 weeks. I was driving in 3 days. I mowed my lawn in 7 days.
Oh my goodness.
So, it's really about the people you surround yourself with as well.
Yeah.
If you're in a negative environment, it's hard to keep that positive mindset. So pick your friends, pick your people very, very carefully, because that does make a big difference.
Yeah, it sure does. Thanks for sharing that. That is true abundance. Yes. So, has there been like a principle or a truth or a scripture that you've leaned on through the varying seasons of your life, or something that you just really cling
Well,
to?
it's a funny story about it's Habakkuk, and it's not something that somebody's going to come out and say, "Wow, this is going to change your life." But I truly believe if you say it, if you write it down, I forget the exact quote, but it's, if you have a vision, if you write it down, you make it plain, it will come true. So I was going through a very, very tough season at some point, and I became a huge journal writer. And everything I did was I wrote it down, and everything was to Dear God. And
Mm,
so my vision that talks to me, I mean, there's so many, great scriptures out there that I could say, but I wanted to come up with one that you won't know. I'll look it up and we can put it in the notes. It's Habakkuk 4:3 or something like that. But it's about making the vision,
yeah.
making it plain, write it down, and then believe it. God will answer your prayers. And so I truly believe that the vision that spoke to me the most was that it was a good friend that told me this vision. And I started writing everything down. And at the point, I was going through a divorce, which many people do. And I
Hmm.
wasn't gonna, I was not going to make the same mistake twice. So I started writing my vision down, and I wrote down exactly what I wanted in a new husband and a new partner of my
Mm,
life, down to being 6 foot to 6'2", brown hair. I mean, like, I got really, really specific, and everything I wrote down came true. I mean, I didn't even share
mm.
it with Ron until it was a much later date. And I'm like, "You're not going to believe this." And I take out my journal and I read it to him, and he's like, "Well, you're describing me." And I'm like, "Yeah." So my abundance and joy of wisdom is journal. Journal your
Mm.
thoughts. You can never ever tell where you're going or where you get to unless you have something to go back and have that record of, wow, I was really down and out at this time. And sometimes the only way we can really see growth is by having that journal. And so journaling was for me clutch in a very, very difficult piece of time. I still do it today. I still write those visions down, and God continues to answer my prayers. And I know that you
Mm.
can say them orally too, and you know, I talk to God all day long. And so just having that journal to go back and look at will
Yeah.
definitely prove miracles that happen in your life.
Wow. Yeah. And I God knew the desires of your heart. So whether you say them out loud or write it down, but there is something about writing your prayers down and writing your thoughts down. And I do that too daily. And it's just, I can't say enough about it. I talk about it all the time. So I love that you're talking about it too.
It's true.
Uh,
We've got, I mean, notebooks full. And Ron used to travel a lot. And
yeah.
so I would spend time writing, Dear God. And we were in a new relationship. And, second marriages, for, I don't know what the exact stat is, but usually they don't last. And I was not going to have that happen in my life. And so we took the time to
Mm.
really read a lot of books and journal to each other through God. And I think that, like, that's how you get to know somebody, is through journaling and having common goals. And we seem to have that. And like I said, reading books together, we used to read books out loud to each other. One of my favorite books that we read together was The Shack. I think it changed my life, The
Oh,
Shack. If you've never read that book, I know there's a movie out and it's pretty close to it, but The Shack is a great book to read and to really, really discover through tragedy what good can come from it.
Yeah, I love that you read books together. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, and then you get each other's perspective
Mm-hmm.
on that too, of what each yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yes, I love the journaling part. Mhm. So, let's look back. If you could sit across the table from your younger self with coffee or tea or whatever, what would be one piece of advice that you would give
Well,
her?
this was me when I was 23. So if I went back to 23, I would say keep going. You know,
Mhm.
we get so stuck in time. And I remember when I was in college, I couldn't wait to get out of college. And when I got out of college, I got my first teaching job. I couldn't wait to the next part of my life of having kids. And then the next thing I know is, I've turned 40. And then I couldn't wait till this time. To my younger self, enjoy every minute. Enjoy every second of your life, the ups, the downs, the turnarounds, because you're never ever going to get to go back and have that time again.
Right.
We're so, like we can't wait till this happens and then we can't wait till that happens. Live every moment. That's what I would tell myself because boy, I'd like to go back and be in college again today. Oh my gosh, somewhat. But it's live every moment. That's what I would tell myself. Don't look to that future of what's next, what's next. Live today.
Yeah, you're right. That's so wise. Mhm. How can we do that? How can we
I
live
think
in the moment?
I think
How
that the
would you
biggest
say?
thing is that you got to start your day out right and get up in the morning and do your things that you're grateful for and just really be in the present and comes with a lot of meditation and a lot of breath work and a lot of getting your mind set that today is the best day of your whole entire life. And yeah,
Mm.
it's
Mhm.
it's hard. I don't have an answer to because I obviously don't do it every day either, but living every day to the biggest joy that you can do, and that is by spreading kindness and happiness. And don't look for tomorrow because we're not granted that.
Right. You're right. Yeah. To be a light in the world today. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Um, many of my listeners they're walking through just different things, juggling a lot, struggling with just various things, family, work, faith, daily life. What would be one piece of encouragement that you could offer the one listening
Life
today?
is a roller coaster, and we've all ridden roller coasters, and we know that the ups and the downs, that is
Yeah.
life. And what I have found to be true is that when you're going through pain, I remember when I was at Prairie College Community and I had my second child, Michael. The next day, I got the news that my brother had passed away. And I'm from a family of
Mm.
seven. And tragic, just, I didn't know what tragic was until that moment. And my house that I used to live right by Westdale Mall, I would go to the door and open it up, and in would come, "Congratulations on your new son." And the next one would come, and there would be a knock at the door, and it would be, "So sorry." And
Mm.
I was 33 years old, and I remember that moment to a T. It was like a soap opera where you slowed it down, and I can envision it all when I got the news. And out of that, I can look back at the situation now, and I learned more about life in my brother's death than I ever
Mm.
had experienced. Life sometimes gives you exactly what you need at the right time. And I went on a soulful journey. I mean, here I have a brand new baby I'm holding, and yet I'm grieving the loss of one of my, all my brothers were my favorite, but one of my favorite brothers.
Mm.
And I look back at that moment, that's when I grew up. I grew up that everything wasn't so great, that sometimes pain.
Yeah.
But that pain is what brought me to where I am today. So when you're juggling the kids and you want to yell at them, I listen to my daughter, her two girls, she's always yelling at them, and they're yelling back because that's just, it's just life. And enjoy
Yeah.
it because they're not going to be young forever. And
Yeah.
so it goes back to living in the present. You know, I
Yeah.
have those two granddaughters are just the most precious little girls in the whole wide world, and I know that there's mothers out
Mm.
there that are, pulling out their hair, and yet those two girls bring more joy than anything else can.
Yeah.
So just be still, enjoy the chaos.
Mm.
Life is a roller coaster. You're down here now, but you're soon going to be here, and then you're going to come back down again. Just know it's just life. It's ebb and flow. And
Yeah.
if you can
Yeah.
learn from every situation and take something great from it, then it was well worth it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And sometimes the hardest things are the things that grow us the
It
most, like you
is.
said.
And, I still,
Yeah.
I look back to that day of the most painful thing I'd ever experienced at that time. And it's what taught me the most. And,
Yeah.
we go through life. Life is ebb and flow. Just know that what you're feeling right now isn't always going to be there. And so learn from it, experience it. You have to experience pain to really understand joy.
Mm. That's profound right there. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And God is with us through the ups and the downs, so we're
That's when
never
you
alone.
really get close to God. I look at singers, Jelly Roll, favorite singer of mine, and you look at his story and what he has had to endure. Well, his endurance is what makes his songs sing and live through us
Mm.
because we all have those moments where we don't want to get out of bed. And there are moments that we don't think that we can do it, but you can. You just have to keep getting up and moving and keep on because
Yeah.
singers, most artists have had painful lives. That's why their music, their art talk to us. And so, that's the thing that you have to remember about yourself is that when you go through that painful experience, now you have something to share to others how you got through it. It could be just listening to somebody. Sometimes listening is just as important.
Isn't that true? Yes. Oh, this has been so good. I could talk to you
Well,
for
let's do it.
hours. Let's do it, yeah. Next time we come to, North Carolina, we'll just have to hook up and have coffee
Well,
or
you'll have to
lunch
come
or
out and
something.
spend a day at my backyard with my little tin baby fish, which will be grown by then. And
Mm.
yeah, it's just so great to connect. And I will say again, my Norway girls, I love every one of you, every one of you, even
Hmm.
my boys. Um, you you gave me an opportunity to grow up with you, and I will never ever forget when I knew I was a grown up. And the Van Scoy name, and Jim, of course, was the baseball coach, and he was the
Yeah.
teacher of industrial arts, I believe. Is that what it's called?
Yep,
And I
you're right.
remember that after one of our basketball games, they invited the teachers over. And I'm like, I'm invited? Oh, yeah, I am a teacher. Okay. And I remember going to his house, he and Chick, and it was Bob Boddicker, and I mean, a lot of just beloved teachers. And we all
Yeah.
sat around the table and we
Yeah.
played a game. I don't remember what the game was. And I left that night and I said, I'm a grown up. How can that be? I mean, I just spent time with some of my biggest idols. What an experience to grow up with such people I
Yeah.
respected so much and still respect today. And I love every
Yeah.
student I touched, every child I touched, as far as if it was in the classroom or if it was walking by them or if it was whatever. I, my thing is, I loved each and every one of you. And thank you for having me be a part of your education and that we grew up together.
Well, we love you too. And I'm so appreciative of you. And I do have a Jim
I can't
Vanscoy
wait to
story I
hear.
wanna share too, because you prompted my thinking. So I'm gonna share this that, he lived across the street from us, and I used to play with his daughter, Jeannie, but I don't know if you knew this, but do you remember how I used to really stink at free throws? There was a time in
We
my life,
worked
I
on
don't know
it
what
a
year it was,
lot.
but yes, and he pulled me aside one time after a basketball game. Jim Vanscoy, the baseball coach, the industrial arts teacher, the guy who I was a bit fearful of because
We all feared him.
he commanded respect. I mean I mean, he just wasn't a mean man.
Stoic.
He was just he yeah, and he just you just respected him. He said, "Sunday nights, we are gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna teach you how to shoot free throws." And I was like, "What?" Every Sunday night for I don't know how many weeks, he took me up to the gym and we shot free throws. He had nothing to gain from that, but he took this little high school girl and just taught me how to and how he knew, I don't know, but after that is when I started shooting free throws and I would rarely miss. And I just again, it's these people that just speak into your life and that just show you that they have nothing to gain, but they just want what's best for you. And we want to be that people, right, Debbie? You and me want to be all of us do. All of us want to be that. So,
That's a great
isn't it
story
amazing?
because Jim Vasquez scared me for I don't even think I talked to him for the first like 3 months that I was a teacher, and he would walk by my room
Yeah.
every day. But I remember him telling me that he was
Yeah.
working with you, and I believe Kim Moole was our coach at that time. Was he, or was it Barry Whitson? Barry,
It was
Barry Whitson,
Barry. I
and
never had yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who he was, and he's still that way today. And so,
Yeah.
what a
Yes.
great family. I love Jeannie. We still chat every once in a while, and I'm telling you, I just love my Norway people.
Yeah. It's a
Hmm.
special place. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on today. This just means the world to
Well,
me.
you're a
You're a
blessing
blessing.
in helping so many people, and just being the encourager and the light, and that's what this world is about. I truly believe that we come to Earth School to learn to love, and
Mm.
you don't know what love is unless you've had pain. So it goes back to that you have to go through pain to learn love. And when you have that love,
Mm.
continue to share it. And that's what you're doing, Julie. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. It's a joy. Wasn't that fun? Oh my goodness. It was certainly fun for me. And I love hearing from Debbie and her wisdom, her expertise, her perspective, just where she's at in life today. And what a joy it was to be able to talk with her today. But what have Debbie's words impacted you the most? How you think you're going to apply what she shared in just living your own life in an impactful way? You know, as I think about the great impact that Debbie, Coach K, I can't call her Debbie. I just can't. had how she had this impact on my young life, it makes me question, who am I influencing for good? What impact am I making today? Or whose life am I speaking life into? Where am I being a light in this world? What about you? How are you impacting the world around you or the lives around you? Whose life are you making a difference in? I think it would be a great goal for us to just impact one person's life for good every single day. It doesn't have to be one big, elaborate gesture. I mean, it could be simply a word spoken of life and hope, like Coach K spoke to me way back in that evening back in 1987. It could be a smile that you give to someone or an encouragement that you text someone or someone who's in the checkout line who's struggling, or even the person who's ringing up your groceries. How many times does someone speak kindness to them or to the server that's bringing your food at a restaurant? Or I don't know. There's lots of different options. But what a difference that would make. So let's make this our intention every day and allow God to use us in our everyday, ordinary moments, because He will. We're giving one life to live. Let's make it count, friend. If you were encouraged by Debbie's words and encouraged in this episode, I just invite you to share this episode with a friend, share it on social media, share how it impacted you. And before we wrap up today, though, this has been great, but here's a little sneak peek at what's coming next on the podcast. Are you ready? Starting next week, we are beginning a brand new series for the month of October called Undistracted October. Make room for what matters most. If you've ever felt pulled in 1,000 directions, which I know you have, you've been overwhelmed, been overwhelmed by busyness or stress or just scattered in your soul, well, this series is for you. Together, we look at what distraction is really costing us, and we'll walk through simple, practical ways to live with more focus and intention and peace and God's presence and our presence to stay in the moment. And October also marks the 2-year anniversary of my book, Right Now Matters, my first book I ever published, which is all about living undistracted and making the most of the time that God gives us. So this series couldn't come at a better time. Plus, if while you're listening, you find yourself saying, that's me, I want this in my life, I would love to invite you into Abundant Life Mentoring. It's a Christ-centered journey, just one-on-one, where I walk alongside of women just like you who are ready to stop settling and to start living fully right where God has them. I have just a few spots open for this fall, and you'll find the link in the show notes. You'll be able to schedule your free 20-minute connection call to see if it's for you. So join me right back here next Tuesday, October 7th, for the first episode of Undistracted October. We're going to be talking about the cost of a scattered life. So I can't wait to dive into this important and timely topic with you. We're going to have a great time together. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being here. Stay encouraged, friend. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You can find more at julielefebvre.com. And until next time, stay encouraged.